What's up, guys? Welcome into the show. Holy cow, it's a Thursday, the pre-Friday celebration. We are here, we are here, we are here. We got a lot to talk about today, too. I just saw a headline I have to start off the show with today. I'm not going to tell you here yet. I'm going to wait until we actually go live because that is hilarious. Oh, man. Oh, how the what's the world coming to? What in the world are we doing? Anybody watch Walking Dead? Anybody still into that? The last season just finally posted on Netflix. The last show of the entire show. 11 seasons of Walking Dead. We're watching about an episode or two every night, and we're down like the last, I think, 3 or 4 episodes. I'm very sad. I'm sad that it's over. It had a weird thing in the middle where it got kind of boring, and here's the ironic part, is that they stopped production during COVID, which is hilarious because
2 minutes. Broadcast.
It's a show about a virus that kills people and turns them into zombies, and they stopped the show about a spreading virus because of a spreading virus. The irony's there, but it did kind of like slip away for a little bit. We're back at it with 11 seasons now, the final season of it, and I am sad that it's over because you get attached to those guys, man. Kind of a fun show. I always cry at the end of a TV show when it's all done. The worst one was Jack Bauer, 24, man. You can relate, right? Everybody saw 24? Yeah. You cry a little bit. All right, coming up on the show today, that's not what we're talking about on the show, I promise you. It's okay. That's fun entertainment talk. We're going to start a separate podcast for that if that's what people want. No. Coming up on the show today, Steve Bonta. He's a contributor to The New American. TheNewAmerican.com is the website. He's going to join to talk about where the state of the Republican Party is after the speaker vote from a couple weeks ago. And now that we're into major battles with the debt ceiling, which officially hit today, we're going to focus some time on that today as well. So we have that coming up. We have the debt ceiling talk. We have the oversight committees that the White House is not happy about, and some other things as well. If you are on the live streams, then welcome aboard. We love you. We just saw some of our numbers, not just on Facebook with Opslens, but also with Getter. If you're on Getter, you can check us out there. Yeah, we are killing it on there. Not to brag or anything,
till broadcast,
but we are one of the top viewed shows on Getter for the Opslens page. You can find it opslens.com, and you can see the live feed there. Not to brag, but you guys are awesome. Thank you. I'm so glad that you enjoy this program. All right, here we are. If you are, like it out, share it out, leave a comment. Let's have some fun today. Lots to get to.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Republicans right now, the conservatives, which unfortunately, this is what we have to do every time, even after a vote where people are sick and tired of the establishment, they're sick and tired of the squeezy, middle-of-the-road, squishy kind of Republican rhinos, and we vote conservatives in, then we have to fight tooth and nail in D.C. to actually be heard within the Republican Party.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right it is. Welcome back into the program. Hey, what's up? It's a pre-Friday celebration, one of the greatest days of the entire week. You see the light at the end of the tunnel. Let us be here to help you as you walk through the rest of the week and get ready for another weekend of shenanigans and malarkey, as Joe Biden calls it. It's great to have you along for the ride today, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio station. We are all over the country, radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. However you watch or listen to the show, we love you to death. Thank you so much. Your Millennial General reporting for duty like we do every single day. Coming up, bottom of the hour, we have Steve Bonta, a new guest on the program. He's a contributor to The New American. We're going to talk about the unity of the Republican Party. Is it still there after the vote from the Speaker of the House and Kevin McCarthy becoming Speaker? Do we have unity? Do we have the Republicans working together? And will they stay firm on some of the major issues of the day? We'll get into that here in just a little bit. Before, though, the biggest news you need to be aware of. There is a new bit of underground black market smuggling going on that I think is a cause for concern in our latest and what's trending. This is, as Donald Trump says,
What's
huge.
trending today?
It's huge. It's bigly, and you need to be aware of it. Obviously, as you know, down at the southern border, the ongoing civil war with Mexico right now between the cartels and the Mexican government with El Chapo and El Chapo's son that was arrested just a week or so ago. And then the ongoing conflicts between all of them. There's some civil unrest that's going on, and it's a cause for concern because again, how do you allow the cartels to have that much control? Well, there is a new bit of apparently black market contraband coming into the country, and it is bigger than humans. It is bigger than guns. It is bigger than drugs. It is bigger than anything else that the cartel's been smuggling into the United States before. Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest contraband now that's starting to come into the United States is eggs. Hey, due to the extreme high prices of eggs in the nation with the avian flu, along with the inflation rates where you're sitting at like $5 a carton right now, which is stupid. It's supposed to be like 99 cents a carton of eggs. Got to be honest. Remember when you go to Aldi's or you would go to your local grocery store, whatever fill in the blank grocery store that you have in your market, and you would go there and it would be like anywhere from 99 cents to $1.50, maybe $2 a carton. Oh no. Now we're looking at $5 plus for cartons of eggs. And now the biggest contraband is smuggling eggs into the United States from Mexico or Canada. And now, according to the BBC.com, they are warning that law officials and immigration officials that stop you at the border, if you do have eggs on you smuggling them, you could see a fine of up to $10,000. Oh, man. That's insane. U.S. egg prices are up near 60% in the month of December compared from year over year. Between October 1st and in December 31st alone, eggs and poultry seizures rose 108%. The seizures of eggs and poultry are up 108% according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture and their latest statistics. There you are, the latest contraband coming into the country. This is how bad. How bad is the Joe Biden economy, ladies and gentlemen? It's so bad. It's like a Jeff Foxworthy joke. How redneck is he? Here's how bad the economy is. You have to smuggle eggs in from Mexico and from Canada, and that the contraband seized at the border of either side of us, on the northern and the southern tips, is eggs, and they're up over 108% with eggs and poultry. Well done, Joe Biden. Well done, my friend. You have created the socialist utopia. We always wanted to know what it was like to eat the eggs out of the ostrich cage at the zoo locally because we didn't have any eggs from the chickens left over. If you wanted to know what that was and if you were curious on how that experience would be, well, now you have it with the "We are there, we are here, we are here, we are here." What was that? Horton Hears a Who, the Dr. Seuss. We are here. We are here. That's sitting on there. Yeah, we're now screaming that we are here. We've officially made it. Eggs are so damn expensive in the country, and there's so little of them. We have to smuggle them from Mexico and Canada, and the contraband seizures are up over 100%, and the fines, if you get caught, is $10,000. Imagine that one, if you will. What's the real latest going on and what's trending right now?
What's trending today?
Gotta be honest, I think that's probably the biggest story of the day right there. But today's also the day. Again, congratulations. Thank you, Democrats, and thank you, Joe Biden administration. Today is the day, ladies and gentlemen, the American government, 3 weeks into 2023, January 19th of 2023, we've officially hit our debt ceiling. We are out of money at the federal level. Oh, yes. We're out of money. We have no more, which means that if the government wants to spend any more on anything above what is already projected to be spent and allotted for, they have to get a congressional approval, which is not going very well in Washington, D.C., as Democrats and the Biden administration said that even a discussion of cutting spending is a non-starter. Even thinking about it, don't even think about it right now. It's a non-starter to cut spending. Now, this comes at the same time where Kevin McCarthy, as soon as he was elected as Speaker of the House, was on Sean Hannity on Fox News and made the comment of, well, we're in discussion with the Biden administration, and when this issue does come up, which he expected it to be summertime, not January 19th of the year, that we'll be in a position to where we can cut spending because obviously, and he makes a great point, that when you give a kid a credit card and they continue to cap out the credit card, do you tell them to stop the wasteful spending or do you just continuously increase the cap on the credit card for them to continue to spend more? That's absurd. And that's exactly what we have to do. We have to treat them like children. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be derogatory. Democrats, we have to treat you like infant little spoiled brat little kids. and I'm going to poke fun at some of the parenting here. If you're one of those parents, I'm not trying to direct it at you, but I'm going to direct it at those that try to helicopter parent them and never teach them anything but just do everything for them, because you're the precious, innocent little child that can never do any harm, and you're the precious one that needs to get everything, and that you, therefore, if you ask for it, you just get it, boom, done. That's the Democrat Party for you right now. And I'm telling you, Republicans, the biggest concern with Kevin McCarthy was the fact that we were going to cower specifically on this issue that we've talked about for weeks on end. Stay firm, because if you cower on this issue after a brutal election and after such a hotly contested race for Speaker of the House for the first time in over 100 years, it took more than one ballot to get our Speaker of the House. If you cave now, when the Republicans seem to be in unison, when Kevin McCarthy seems to be promoting a relatively conservative House of Representatives right now, when they seem to be presenting relatively conservative bills in the House of Representatives right now, if you cave now, when all eyes are on what you're doing with the first major test, if you cave, you will lose the 2024 election in the president's race. You will lose it in the Senate races. You will lose it in the House races. You will lose all majorities, I guarantee you, because right now there's very few times when all of the voters out there, when all of the semi-involved politicians or semi-involved people that are political activists across the nation, there's very few times when we're this engaged with what's going on because of the shakeup that we saw just a couple weeks ago. We're watching you. We know what you're doing, and we're spying, and we're keeping a close eye on you. This isn't the time when people are just going with the flow. Obviously, the crazy activists are paying attention. Nobody else just cares. They're just going about their business. No, more people are paying attention now than ever before. And if you cave after all of that, when we tried to rein you in and make you more conservative, if you cave, you will not win an election again for at least another 2 or 3 election cycles. You're running right now based on, we made these promises, this is what we're doing, and we're not backing down. By Kevin McCarthy's words, that's what he said. Here's the crazy part about this as we look at the financial crisis that we're in right now. So we're out of money. The government cannot spend anymore. Additionally, what they've done is they passed this $1.7 trillion omnibus crazy spending package, but it's allotted to go towards certain things, which means outside of those certain things, that is the federal budget right now, that $1.7 trillion. That's the federal budget, where the money's supposed to go across the board for the federal government. If you want to spend above and beyond that, then you need congressional approval. Specific congressional approval, not like the Environmental Protection Agency signing a bill, sending it to them to oversee it, and then go to the president's desk. Oh, no, Congress has to make this happen, and they don't want to do that. Here's a little bit of history for you, by the way, with how quickly this has gotten out of hand. This all started back under the Barack Obama administration. Shocker, I know. Let that settle in for just a moment. Let the shock and awe bypass for just a moment that Barack Obama is the one that took this to completely different levels. When I was interning for radio, and I think I've told you the story before, back at 850 KOA in Denver, Colorado, the big 100,000-watt blowtorch out of Denver that covers most of the state of Colorado. Mike Rosen, the big talk show host, he had filled in for Rush Limbaugh a couple of times in his reign. He was the big kahuna talk show host in that area. I had the honor and privilege to intern for him for 6 months. His internships usually only lasted 3 months. I got to do it 6 months. And he opened up because he had run the finance department for the Pentagon when he was in the military. He was a financial guru, which is why I focus a lot of my attention on this radio program on finances, because it makes sense and because it ties everything in what's going on in the world of politics. He showed me the federal budgets that he had kept track of on a graph in like this 200-page Excel sheet, and I have a copy of it still that he gave me, where every year he would just add the numbers in and change the blips on where they were year after year with the budget. He couldn't do that anymore around this time when Barack Obama took over, because since then, in 2008, we have not had an actual federal budget. At the same time, when we stopped having a federal budget, the U.S. debt was sitting at 39.2% of the actual GDP, meaning the entire economic value of the entire country, the whole economy. They were capped at only allowing debt at like 40% of the GDP. And at that time in 2008, it was sitting at 39.2%. After Barack Obama, it started skyrocketing because there was no budget, so therefore you couldn't cap it based on a budget, because the budget specifically is the 12 appropriations bills. If you don't have a budget, you can spend whatever you want to because you're not capping it at a certain percentage of the GDP. It jumped from 39.2% back in 2008 to 2018, 10 years later, it jumped from 39.2% to 77.6% of the entire GDP. Meaning everything that we grow in the private sector, all the small business, all the job growth, all the economic growth that we have spurring our economy locally, creating new business, creating new wealth, allowing the new generations to have wealth, being able to invest it into small business again, and the cycle continues. Not the top-down, the trickle-down effect that they try to say from the left side that, trickle-down effect doesn't work. That's crap. We don't even have a system like that. We create and then we reinvest it, and then it comes back to us based on what we put back into the value of it in the private sector, and it's a cycle where it grows. You don't have to take a piece of the pie from somebody else. You can create your own. That's the beauty of a free market, laissez-faire capitalist system. But they started borrowing from it heavily as soon as the budget, poof, went away and we didn't have a federal budget. In 2018, we went to 77.6% of the GDP was balanced off by debt. You had to take 77% of the entire economic value of the country to pay off all the debt that we had at this time. Right now, prior to the $1.7 trillion expenditure package that we did in Christmas, we were at 100%. You would have to take every nickel, dime, and penny from every American in the private sector to pay off all the debt that we have in this nation. They're now looking at increasing it. This is the Democrats' proposal here with the debt ceiling that we've hit now. They're looking at increasing the total debt to $31.4 trillion in this nation, which is 120% of the entire U.S. GDP. We're 20% short of the entire economic value of our nation to pay off the debt of what they want to increase it to. And that's the proposal for Democrats. While Kevin McCarthy and the Republicans are trying to cut spending, the Biden administration said that that's a complete non-starter. They're not even willing to go to the table to discuss spending cuts. They want to increase the debt to 120% of the U.S. GDP. That's their proposal. The ball's in your court now, Kevin McCarthy. Your response better be, that's non-negotiable. We're not even going to the table unless it's spending cuts massively.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to the Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring the Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Looking for more reason? Well, now you can get even more content from the Voice of Reason through our Patreon site. It's your exclusive membership for being the ultimate Hoosier-holic. On our Patreon, you'll get additional interviews and content that we don't get to air on the radio, behind-the-scenes action from the Hooser Media Network, plus one-on-one video streams where you can catch up with me, guests of the show, and other great Voice of Reason supporters. Plus, you can also support the show by checking out our gear and swag. Find the link on our website at HooserReason.com. Again, that's HooserReason.com. Become the ultimate Hoosier-holic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
Fighting for freedom every day. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yes, indeed it is. 24 minutes past the hour. Welcome back into the program. Hey, want to tell you real quickly. First off, welcome aboard. Thanks for hanging out, or the streams or the podcast or the TV, however you check out the show. We always love you. I want to give a shout out to our friends over at OpsLens, OPSLENS.com, as they host a lot of our streaming on their website and on their app and on all their social media as well, which I was not aware that our show is doing as well there is what it is. It's maintaining with the rest of their shows, which is awesome, which means people aren't turning away with my craziness on this program. So I appreciate that very much. I know that we've had some comments about some of the Facebook live feeds from their OpsLens site that kind of skips out a little bit. But if you can't watch it on there, go to Getter. If you don't have the Getter app, totally get the Getter. You got to get the Getter app, right? And I have my Getter app as well. You can find me at Hooser Reason on Getter, Gettr. It's kind of the conservative alternative to Twitter, and it's booming. It's growing really well. I know Dan Bongino, I believe, another talk show host, he's part owner and founder in Getter, or maybe he's walked out of that one. I don't know, but it's still a great platform. It's still a great one, but you can check my page out at Hooser Reason. Also, you can check out OpsLens on there. The live video feed is on Getter, and we're getting some really great numbers on there. That's awesome. We appreciate that. We love you guys to death. If you are watching through OpsLens, I got to give you guys a shout out because we jumped on board with the network about, a year ago? Just over a year ago, and we've been killing it since. So thank you much. We always love you and appreciate you very much there. Also on their Twitch page. You can find it at twitch.tv. For those maybe on the younger generation, you already know what Twitch is because a lot of video gamers do their live video game streaming, which I don't understand why people watch others play video games. I want to play. If I'm going to play it, I'm going to play it. I don't want to watch other people play it. That doesn't make any sense to me, but apparently that's the entertainment value. My daughter, she loves watching, when she watches, we're like, hey, you can watch a TV show. She doesn't turn on a TV show. She watches YouTube videos of a guy playing Minecraft, and I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. But she enjoys it. And then she loves playing Minecraft when she gets to play a video game, which, again, it's another game that I don't get. It's like Legos because everything's a block, and then you just build things. And there's no purpose to it. There's no agenda. There's no goal. There's no mission. You just build things. And it drives me nuts. After about 20 minutes, I'm like, all right, I'm bored. This is ridiculous. People can do some pretty fascinating things with it, and she's really good at it at 8 years old. But, man, she's either playing Minecraft or watching videos of people play Minecraft, which I guess is where she's learned about how to do a lot of that stuff. So kudos to her on that. I'm not going to deter her, although I don't want her playing video games all the time. I'm not going to deter her from playing any video games because, as you can see, there are people playing video games online making a hell of a lot more money than I am right now. So if that's what she wants to do, then all the power to her. She's just got to be able to sustain herself. All right, as we wrap up this conversation regarding the debt ceiling, again, we have to treat Democrats like the children. With my daughter, if there's an option and we want her to do something or not do something, we give her an option. You can do this or you can do this. Here's a certain amount of money. You have a certain amount of money. You want to do something. You can either buy this or you can buy this, but you can't have both. And that's the way you treat young children. That's the way we have to treat the Democrats right now. The hard line, and I don't care. I don't care how long the government shuts down. I don't care if it shuts down for an entire year. Republicans don't cower, because if you cave on this, you will lose the next 2 elections, guaranteed. You have to treat them like children and say, no, you're not spending anymore. But what you need to do is, if you want to spend more on a different program, what program are you taking away? If you want a green project, then you need to defund the IRS. If you want an infrastructure package, you need to get rid of Social Security payments. Which one do you want? Your choice. What is your priority? And treat them like the children and put the ball in their court. We're giving you the option. We're not dictating to you and trying to be bossy to you. We're giving you the option. Where are you going to reallocate funds? Because we're not creating more funds. You need to reallocate them. So here's your choices. Got to treat them like the little kids they are. The temper tantrum, spoiled little brats that just get whatever they want. Here's your choice. You can have this, or you can have this. You can't have both. There is not a penny. And I swear to you, Republican elected officials, I swear, not a penny more in spending. Not even a discussion of increasing spending in all. Non-negotiable, never on the table. Shut the damn thing down if that's what it comes to. Not a penny more. Reallocation only to get us through until the end of September at the end of the fiscal year.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own Voice of Reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com. Again, that's HooserMedia.com, the future of media. Welcome to the Hooser Media Network. It's been a long time coming, and now it's growing bigger and better than we ever imagined. The Hooser Media Network is so much more than just the Voice of Reason. It's a network for you as a listener and you as a podcaster. It's a network for any kind of talk on any kind of topic, bringing podcasters together to give you a new way to think about the world, and it's any type of show from entertainment to educational. Check out all of our great programs, like Dr. Devin Verana with If They Knew.
Yeah, and it gives you tangible tools. I mean, I'm sure she just mentioned that some people might be mad at the government. I just can't imagine.
No.
I think there's a little bit of anger in the world these days, but I was listening to Wayne Dyer this morning, and he said, if you grab an orange and you squeeze it, what comes out? Juice. What kind of juice? Orange juice every time, right? It's not going to be apple juice. It's never going to be mango juice. It's always going to be orange juice. So whatever is in us is going to come out when we're squeezed. And so I'm sure you're learning that, like, taking yourself through this process continually just adds more and more power, more and more depth of compassion and joy and freedom and all those good feeling things, because you're clearing that space out.
Yes, exactly.
I love it. Now take people, so for anybody listening out there that might have an object of anger, whether it's somebody or something or, you know, objects out in the world these days, take us into some tactical, practical things that they can do. Number one, I'm sure, is to come see you, but what are some other things?
So I skipped that one on purpose when I was going through this, but the first book that changed my life, and I listened to it before I signed up for I listened to her 1 hour Zoom before I signed up for the class. She was interviewing a man who told us about a book called The Four Agreements. And so then when you get into the class, we study the book called Forgive for Good by Fred Luskin. And we went through a process by Michael Brown called The Presence Process. These are all 3 books. And I hate to be this honest, but let me be this honest. You can read those 3 books and know everything I'm going to teach you. But like any good class, I mean, just because I signed up for a class in college, I buy the books. You really need someone to guide you through them.
That plus tune into Spiritual Smorgasbord with Desiree and Cheyenne.
It is, and we talked about that because then, of course, other things started to happen after that. Of course, that was not my last doctor's visit, by no means. However, we talked about it, and I thought, our ancestors were so smart. They know, whatever ails us, there's a cure for on this planet. We're just not smart enough to know how to use it, but our ancestors were. We need to get back to that. Modern medicine, basically what that is it is what you get from the plant, the healing benefit, just on steroids with side effects.
Yes.
And so a lot of people, modern medicine is considered sexy. It's fast resolving. It's instant gratification. But, and so like plant-based formula, the raw, natural plant-based formula is what is going to work. It's going to be great. It just takes a while. And people want that instant gratification.
Oh, yes.
So a lot of people try
It's been marketed
something.
to them that way too.
It
They're like,
has.
oh, that's the old way. It's going to take you forever. But if you just take this, you wake up tomorrow and you can have whatever you want.
Exactly.
You can do whatever you want.
But at what cost?
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
My leg is broken, but have some Oxycontin.
Yes.
It's like,
Right.
dude, your leg is still severely broken.
Right.
You just can't feel anything.
yeah. And it's like, so let's go to nature. Let's see.
Yeah.
You know what? There's pain relievers in nature. Marijuana is a great pain reliever.
Yes.
For one. I mean, just
Mentally and physically.
Yes. Well, I mean, but there's other remedies out there. And everything that ails us, there's a cure for on this planet.
This whole room smells like peppermint.
We're all getting cured.
We're all
now.
getting cured right now. It's a beautiful essential oil I bought from a local, I guess you could say apothecary shelf, but I'm getting healed right now.
Yes, exactly. It is. And it's all around us. We just need to know how to look for it. And I'm sorry, but that's kind of what we were discussing. And that kind of was what started this whole journey. And what I'm very fortunate that, my spouse and I are together on this. It's not just one of us having a spiritual journey. It's that we're doing this together.
Listen to those shows and so much more on our website where you can find live streaming, links to the podcast, links to social media, more content, and so much more. It's all online at HooserMedia.com.
When Reason Meets Radio. This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right it is. Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out. I got to steal this joke. I'm sorry. This is not my joke. I got to steal it from somebody else. But as we hear about the debt ceiling debate, Kevin McCarthy, and the discussion that's going to go on, are we going to raise the debt ceiling or are we not going to raise the ceiling? And then you tie in the eggs that are being contrabanded up from Mexico. I think that Kevin McCarthy needs a pair of those huevos shipped up to him to Washington, D.C. Ha! See what I did there? See what I did there? That was a great joke. I didn't come up with that one, but I did see that on the live stream. Appreciate that very much. Welcome into the show. Thanks for hanging out. Last half hour on the home stretch here for a pre-Friday celebration. Let's get right into our next guest as we have a lot to get to.
What's trending today?
And obviously, today's the day, man. Today's the big day. We're all going to die in the streets, and the government's going to leave us hanging because they're out of money 3 weeks into January. Oh, I know it. And that's the state of affairs that we kick off 2023 with. Excited to have this next guest on the program. A new guest for the first time here on the show. He is the executive senior editor for the New American magazine. You can find online at thenewamerican.com. Excited to have on the program with us here, Steve Bonta. Steve, how are you, my friend?
I'm fine.
Hey, it's great to have you on. I appreciate you coming on, and Happy New Year to you. What a crazy way to kick off the year. What do you think?
Well, it's been a tumultuous New Year, but that's sort of been the way of things the last few years.
Yeah, it starts off with the vote for the Speaker of the House and Kevin McCarthy, which I loved. I honestly loved it. I mean, it showed us the civics behind this. We haven't seen this in a long time, and it's for the first time we saw real debate on the House floor and conservatives holding their own. Did it teach us a lesson, do you think, moving into the year?
Oh, there's so much to be extracted from that. I think one of the great ironies of that whole situation was, going back to last fall's elections, a lot of us, myself included, were kind of surprised that the anticipated, much ballyhooed red wave never materialized. But if it had, if the Republicans say, had elected 240 or 245 or something like that to the House, or 250 or some such, really dramatic turnaround, then the 20 or so recalcitrants that managed to extract all these wonderful concessions from Kevin McCarthy would never have been able to accomplish anything, most likely, right? I mean, the numbers wouldn't have been there because McCarthy could have said, well, you people can fight all you want, but I'll still get the votes. And it was only because the balance in the House was so precarious that the likes of Boebert and Getz and the rest were able to really make McCarthy squirm, hold his feet to the fire, and continue to do so now that he's actually become Speaker of the House. And frankly, from what I can see so far, he's bidding fair to actually deliver to the extent that he's able to, given the political realities in Capitol Hill right now, on some of these promises.
Yeah, it's been nice to watch. I mean, right out of the gate, they voted on the bill, and we can talk about the importance of this. They voted on the bill to try and defund those 87,000 new IRS agents. They've tried to they changed the House rules for the floor, which is really interesting to be able to actually add amendments or revise the bills that are actually on the floor instead of sending it back to committee. There's been a lot of really good changes. And while the vote, for example, on the IRS thing doesn't actually end it because it would go to the Senate, the Senate would have to approve it, which they're not. How important is it for them to actually present and pass and vote on these bills, even though they're not going to take action and actually become law?
Well, you make a good point, because a lot of more cynical people say, well, they do this because they know, the rhinos and neocons and so forth. They know that they won't be held to account because ultimately, the Senate won't pass it. If it does, the White House will veto it, and that's the end of it. So they can vote with impunity on all these things that leave a bad taste in their mouth, and then report to their constituents that they did their best, but golly gee, they couldn't carry anything out. But here's the thing. To my knowledge, no one has ever voted to defund the IRS before.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about Social Security being a third rail. The IRS is kind of the same thing. I mean, from time to time we talk about, well, we need to make it more user-friendly and we need to reform. Well, you and I both know that much more drastic action is needed. We need to get rid of the thing. Yeah. And the graduated income tax, probably any form of federal income tax along with it. But that is something, of course, that the D.C. establishment is resolutely opposed to. But now, the thing about politics, as you well know, is that in politics, precedent plays a big role. And so while it may be true that right now we don't have the votes and the electoral clout to be able to bring this to pass, the mere fact that they're casting votes on it means that, 2 or 3 Congresses from now, if current trends continue and we do get a sympathetic president in the White House once again, and a veto, and a Congress that's willing to vote, both houses to say permanently get rid of the IRS and replace the tax system with a national sales tax or something else, which still might not be ideal, but be a lot better than what we have now. Yeah. People could say, well, now you know what, you can't wriggle out of this because a couple of years ago you voted for it already, so now is the time to put up or shut up. So I mean, these things do have impact, and as for that, I mean, technically, if the House doesn't vote to fund something, it doesn't get funded. I mean, remember that the Constitution requires that all bills for raising revenue must originate in the House. Yeah. So in a sense, by simply being passive, the House can prevent things from being funded at all. Right? They don't necessarily have to pass an active bill saying we hereby repeal this or that or the other thing. They simply don't have to do anything, in which case the money runs out. Now, of course, politically that's very difficult to deal with because all the shrill harridans in the mainstream news media always come out and scream and yell, and every one of these, so far every one of these, shut down the government, high noon type things, the Republicans always blink in the end and give up. Oh, well, we can't do that. We can't defund the government. I mean, this time around, contrary to what the news is saying, the government's not going to run out of money today.
Right.
It's got until June or thereabouts. And then things will get interesting again. But we'll see. I mean, obviously...
They have plenty of time to converse on that. Yeah, and you're right. I'm one of those where I don't care if the government shuts down for 6 months. It makes no difference to me because they're going to get their furlough, they're going to get their back pay, and things don't actually really shut down like we know. But I said this in the last segment right before you came on here, is that Republicans have to stay strong on this because of, that was my big concern with Kevin McCarthy and why we were so hesitant about him, was that, like you said, he was going to talk a big talk, but then cave when it came down to it because of all the pressure, where he's going to let the government shut down and let people die in the streets and die in the gutters, that sort of thing. But if he cowers on this, Republicans lose elections for the next two elections in 2024 and probably 2026 as well, because this was the big thing where he said he was going to cut spending. And when the Biden administration now says that cutting spending is a non-starter, we're at the square off on who's going to cave first. And I'm not optimistic because Republicans always cave, but this is where we need to stay strong, I think, more so than ever. And if it shuts down, then we need to lay it out of, hey, they're unwilling to compromise with us, not the other way around.
Well, I mean, and there are a lot of things at play here. I mean, for the first thing, Biden and company will trot out if it really comes down, as they always do. They, well, we're required by the Constitution to pay our debts, which is true. That is something, part of the Reconstruction amendments after the Civil War that was added in there, guarantee that because people were afraid that the government would not pay the debts of the Confederacy in this case, and so it's in there. That we have to pay our debts, we have to honor our debts. Well, fine, okay. But, two can play at this game. You can simply say, sure, we'll pay the debts. We'll pay it in proceeds generated by massive cuts in government spending.
Exactly.
And that is achievable. And, again, the House doesn't necessarily need to pass anything. I mean, if they simply refuse to pass a spending bill, the Senate can't do it in the stead of the House.
Yep.
And it could be, because it has to start in the House, in the people's House. They have the purse strings. So, yeah, I mean, even not having a majority in the Senate and a hostile White House and everything else, conceivably, in theory, the spending spree could come to a halt. I am cautiously optimistic. I mean, I think Kevin McCarthy so far has done better than Ryan and Boehner, his predecessors. But we'll see. I mean, I think that the suspicions are well-founded. I mean, he certainly worked actively to sabotage a number of these MAGA-type candidates who, in the primaries, and they got elected anyway. That's why they're so mad, and some of them refused to support him, is that he tried to keep them out. And so, among other things.
Sure.
So we'll see. It's very interesting. But so far, I mean, ultimately you have to judge him on what he's done. And so far, it ain't bad. It's a very promising start.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. He surprised me, and I think it's because of the fight that he had in order to get that seat. What I would like to see is when they come to the table and they discuss this issue is say, all right, we're going to have to reallocate. We have to treat them like children, is what I said. We have to treat Democrats like the spoiled brat children that they are, that they just want to spend on everything. And that if you want to fund this, if you want to pay this certain debt, if you want a new program, where are you going to cut it and move it from something else? And obviously, after a $1.7 trillion omnibus package around the holidays, we have plenty of money that's going wastefully to other places that you could probably reallocate and refine where you want that money to go. And let's start there, then we'll talk.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, will they cave, as they always have in the past, to Democrats and mainstream media histrionics and tantrums?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what happened. There's such a bunch of crybabies, and they've used those techniques so effectively to browbeat Republicans, scare them into just giving every single time into folding. That it's hard to imagine that things will be different, but there have been a lot of unexampled things that have happened in the last couple years in politics. A lot of things that people thought would never come to pass. So we'll see. Again, I think cautious optimism is in order here, but with eyes wide open and realizing, all likelihood at some point, McCarthy will reach his breaking point. But if he does, the beauty is that he could be Boehnered. Sure. I mean, that's basically what happened to John Boehner. This provision that they reintroduced to allow one person to vote for, to vacate the seat, to move to vacate the seat, that was enforced until 2019. It was the Democrats that got rid of that.
Yeah.
Because Pelosi didn't want pressure from her left flank.
Exactly. We could boot him out. I just don't want to see him crying on the House floor. I don't want to see any more John Boehner crying like we saw there. Let's take a break here real quick. It's Steve Bonta, The New American. TheNewAmerican.com is the website. Go and check it out. When we come back, I want to shift gears and talk about committees and other bits of leadership from Kevin McCarthy. Lots more coming up.
Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to the Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring the Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You want some more reason throughout the day? Well, now it's easier than ever to find. Here's what you do. Check out the website at HooserReason.com. There you can find past shows, links to all of our social media, special features, our monthly blogs, and a heck of a lot more. Plus, make sure to check in frequently, as we're constantly working to add more goodies that you'll really enjoy. Also, you can always subscribe and follow our social media sites for bonus content, articles that we use on the show, or maybe some additional rants. Yeah, it's all that and so much more. Check it all out at HooserReason.com. Looking for more reason? Well, now you can get even more content from the Voice of Reason through our Patreon site. It's your exclusive membership for being the ultimate Hoosierholic. On our Patreon, you'll get additional interviews and content that we don't get to air on the radio, behind-the-scenes action from the Hooser Media Network, plus one-on-one video streams where you can catch up with me, guests of the show, and other great Voice of Reason supporters. Plus, you can also support the show by checking out our gear and swag. Find the link on our website at HooserReason.com. Again, that's HooserReason.com. Become the ultimate Hoosierholic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. As we continue to grow as a radio and TV program, we're continuously working behind the scenes to try and bring more common sense and reason to more patriotic Americans all over the country. That's why we're super excited to be working with the OpsLens team to bring you the Voice of Reason every single day. OpsLens is a national online network bringing you incredible content all day from hosts all over the country. And each host brings their own unique experience and expertise to the current events, reaching hundreds of thousands of patriotic Americans daily. Make sure to check out their website at opslens.com. Make sure to download the OpsLens website and follow them on all of these social media sites that you like, so you can watch all their live streaming content, including ours right here with the Voice of Reason. Plus, if you want more of the Voice of Reason, check out our website online at HooserReason.com. There you can listen to the live audio feed of the show every single day. You can read our monthly blog. You can check out our satire infomercials. You can see pictures of what we're doing, upcoming schedule of events, and a heck of a lot more. On the website, you can find our list of radio and TV affiliates in your area. Find our social media links, and while you're there, sign up for our free newsletter. Over the last 2 years, your Voice of Reason newsletter has grown exponentially. It's completely free, and in it we give you your monthly motivation, upcoming civic holidays for the month, a recap from the show from last month, upcoming guests on the program, along with the latest news from our Hooser Media Network. It's pretty simple. All you got to do is go to the website at HooserReason.com and become the next Hoosierholic. Finally, follow us on all of our social media sites. With the iron grip control on content from the radical left, unless you follow us, you're not going to be able to see us. It's been an ongoing battle with shadow banning on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, where even our own fans are having a hard time finding our content. But the battle isn't over. We'll continue to bring you the best content we can on as many platforms as possible. You can follow us with the handle at Hooser Reason. No matter what social media site you like to use, you can find us there. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch.tv, Instagram, TikTok, OurFreedomBook.com, Parler, and of course our website at HooserReason.com. Don't miss it while we give you a heads up on some of the events that I may be attending or speaking at, updates of behind-the-scene projects, or just something sarcastic to try and rile up the left. The battle for freedom is real, and we want to be part of that battle, as we want you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Conservative principles happen at the grassroots level, and that's what we're here to help with. And together, you and I can fight back against this virus that's spreading across the nation that is socialist policy, trying to destroy this country. We can bring us back to some constitutional values, some individual sovereignty, and the right for you to be able to make your own choices when you deem necessary for you, your family, and your community. In a world of fake news and information overload, it's time to bring back some reason, common sense, guidance, and a little bit of wisdom. And that's what we're here to do. This is the Voice of Reason.
fighting for freedom every day. The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
All right, last few minutes here of the program as we wrap up for a pre-Friday celebration. Boy, we covered a lot of ground today and so much more. We could do a 4-hour show here, and we're out of time, though. Getting close. We got a few minutes left, but this ties in. I'm going to get some heat for this. I know I'm going to get some heat for this. There was one good thing out of that entire $1.7 trillion omnibus package. You want to know what it was?
Weird news of the day.
And Steve, you'll enjoy this one as well and get your thoughts on it. But the one good thing that came out of that $1.7 trillion omnibus package was the fact that now, with all UFO investigations that are going on from the government, they have to relay it to the Intelligence Committee, and the Intelligence Committee has to relay it on to the American people. So maybe, just maybe, we'll start getting some answers on UFO research here in the country. That's the one bit of good news. What do you think?
You asking me? I don't know a lot about it, but I think it's a great idea.
I'm thinking that's the one good thing. So apparently there are right now, according to Fox News, 1,945 UFO sightings that are being investigated by the U.S. government since Roswell, and now they have to be released. So hey, I'm ready. We're finally going to get the answers on UFOs, and I'm prepared for it.
Oh, yeah. More transparency is always a good thing.
More transparency is always a good thing.
There's definitely something to it. I just don't know what.
That's right. That's right. We're all waiting with pins and needles, although the last couple of reports have been a whole bunch of nothing burgers here. Steve, the last couple of minutes as we kind of wrap up, I want to get your thoughts, as we've talked a lot about Kevin McCarthy now as Speaker of the House, what he's done so far. And you're right, he's held up his end to the bargain on a lot of issues, and I think a lot of the deals that were made for him to become Speaker, because I found it interesting during the entire thing where we saw Matt Gaetz, we saw Lauren Boebert, and some of the real strong MAGA individuals fighting against him. But one that didn't was Marjorie Taylor Greene, that I found kind of interesting. We'll come to find out she's been placed on some pretty intense committees that the Democrats are losing their minds over, trying to discredit the committee in general now that's investigating, obviously, Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and whatever. But Marjorie Taylor Greene and some others, including Paul Gosar as well, being placed on some oversight committees that the Democrats are not happy about. Your thoughts on those?
Well, first of all, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Gosar were both kicked off the Oversight Committee by the Democrats in 2021 because they said things that were controversial, and the Democrats were looking for excuses to cashier them. So they're really only being replaced, hyphenated there, on the committees that they were in before. And I mean, overall, I agree with you. McCarthy has he's shown himself to be. I mean, I'm impressed that he's at least not publicly bearing any grudges, because he's put a number of the people who even opposed him and refused in the end to vote for him at all in nice committee chairs. Boebert is, let's see, where did she end up? I had it here somewhere, but in any case, there's so many of them I can't keep track of them. But but all these people, let's see, Gaetz ends up on the House Judiciary Committee, I guess.
Wow.
Along with Andy Biggs of Arizona, Chip Roy of Texas, Thomas Massey was already there. Of course, that will be led by Jim Jordan, and so I mean, yeah, just fantastic people. And here's the thing, Andy. 10, 15 years ago, we were happy when that one lone voice of sanity, Ron Paul, would get sort of a plum subcommittee seat of some kind, and we'd say, oh, wow, this is a great thing. And now we've got, several dozen Ron Paul mini-me's running amok in the House, and now, getting put into positions of real power, of real influence. This has to have, a good effect. I mean, it's not going to change things overnight. If people expect that, that Kevin McCarthy or anyone else has a magic wand just going to cure all of our ills in a single congressional session, that's, of course, not going to happen. It's taken generations to get into this mess, and it will take some time to extricate ourselves from it. But we're definitely on the right path, and that speaks well to the strategy of, educating the people and being patient.
Yeah.
Because we're starting to see some really great people get elected and reelected to the House, and now we're seeing some consequences.
I'm right there with you, my friend. It's going to take a lot of work, but it's optimistic to see the amount of people that are in there actually fighting. In about 30 seconds, last question here. Do you think that right now this conservative MAGA movement that's starting to impact the House of Representatives and the Republican Party as a whole, do you think it's stronger than what the Tea Party was back in the day?
I think it's better organized and better informed. I think it's the logical outgrowth of the Tea Party, and it's it's the next step forward, and there'll be other steps after that, I think.
Other movements moving in, trying to rebrand again that Republican Party that's, I think, lost its way with too big of an umbrella. It's thenewamerican.com. Go and check out the website. Great content there. Steve, I love it. We got to get you back on the show again soon, my friend.
Thanks, Andy.
Hey, appreciate
Great
that.
talking to you.
Hey, you as well. Always a pleasure. All right, that does it for us today. Podcast up in just a little bit. We're back at it again tomorrow for our Friday episode. Wrapping up the week, we'll have some fun. Until then, be your own voice of reason. Be that catalyst for change. It's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. This is the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. We'll see you on the radio. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own Voice of Reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website, or social media,